Spurs' two record signings are leaving the club, but will we have enough depth? Yes, guys, hello and welcome back to another Spurs-related YouTube video and podcast. I hope everyone is doing very, very well today. Today, we are discussing all things transfers, and although we're at the end of the transfer window, we have two more outgoings at the final minute. Two players, two record signings, as mentioned, Tanguy Ndombele and Davinson Sanchez are both headed to the same club in Galatasaray. Is this a saving grace from Galatasaray, or actually are we a little bit lacking in our squad depth? Today, I'm joined alongside Andre of SpursRelated all the way from Canada. And guys, it is a pleasure being back on your screens. It's been a couple of days, but if you could show us all some great support and smash the thumbs up on the video, it's free to do so, and subscribe if you are new. But Andre, all good your side?
Yeah, I mean, this is pretty good news, I think, personally. Galatasaray has come to our rescue. We have been trying to offload Sanchez and Ndombele for quite a while. I think the Ndombele reports of Galatasaray being interested date back all the way to like halfway through the transfer window. So, it's good to see they're pulling the trigger. But you're right. The question is now, do we have enough depth for that? Is it really a saving grace?
Exactly, and that's my concern, which we'll get into the video. Guys, let us know. I'm going to put the keyword in. I want you guys to comment your thoughts on this talking point straight away. Let us know. Keyword is Galatasaray, and let us know if you think Davinson Sanchez and Tanguy Ndombele, getting rid of them, is the right decision, bearing in mind we haven't really replaced them in such as we haven't got an extra centre back and we haven't got an extra centre mid. Do you think we're okay with that? Or do you think a couple of injuries to our first team could be massive? But Andre, let's get straight into the news, straight into the updates. And guys, I'll put timestamps below if you do want to skip to any moments in this video. We'll run through it pretty quickly and hopefully update you guys as best as possible. But as I said, Andre, first one I believe we're going to quickly update you on is Hugo Lloris, obviously our club captain for many years, is in fact likely to stay at Tottenham.
Yeah, so I mean, the entire window he's been trying to solidify a move. I think Newcastle were interested and he was not. I think there was an interest from Lazio, but he didn't want to be a second choice, so that was nowhere close to being done, as reported by Fabrizio. And I think the most recent one was Nice on September 1st. He gave a full-on no, it's not happening. So it looks like he's likely to stay at least for until the next window in January, where he'll try and find another move. Now, the big question is, what exactly will his role be at the club? Because, I mean, the captaincy, all that stuff has already been done. So now it's more like, will he get game time? What will his role be at training? I can't imagine they'll just have him sitting there doing nothing.
Yeah, good point. Like, what is next for Hugo Lloris? Exactly that. And I feel like we were trying to find him a club and it just didn't come into fruition. We didn't find the right, I guess he didn't find the right club. There were offers there, even from Newcastle, who came in for him as well, which is crazy to think, considering his absolute stinker at St James's Park at the end of the year. But I don't know how I feel about this one, because like it's left a bit of a sour taste in my mouth, if I'm being honest, Andre, because Hugo Lloris, club captain, been a servant at the club for 10 years, and we've just set him aside. Like, I mean, watching Fraser Forster, I mean, that guy is genuinely, like, not good enough. Watching him in that penalty shootout, it looked like a dead animal trying to sort of, like, scurry to his prey. It was absolutely awful. Is Hugo Lloris worse than that? I don't think so. But at the end of the day, should Hugo Lloris have moved on? Absolutely. And I don't understand why Tottenham do all this last minute business. We're trying to get rid of players. It just seems crazy. And like we're saying, we're getting on to Ndombele and Sanchez later in the video, but I just don't understand why. It's like Lloris. I think honestly falls under the Deadwood category. I loved the guy for 10 years, absolutely adored him, right? Brilliant, brilliant servant. Probably should have moved on a couple of years before. But why are we still struggling to move these players on? I know it feels like I moaned a lot in these last couple of videos, but I have to make the point. Like, why? Why can't we? Why do we have a selling problem? We mentioned it last video, didn't we, Andre?
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I think it's more so Lloris and the club. The offers were there. He just hasn't found the right one that works for him. And I think at this point, especially after everything he's done with the club, just embrace him, right? If he's going to stay, have him do something, have him work with Vicario. I know he's had some stinkers lately, but at the end of the day, experience is a lot. And I think in training, there's much that Lloris can teach Vicario. And I mean, even if he does solidify a move in January, if he happens to be a really good backup goalkeeper, I'd keep him right till the end if he's going to leave for free anyways, and then go from there. Because if Forster is, not good enough, I think Lloris is good enough to be a backup, 100%. I'd keep him.
Yeah, I think so. Let's see what the guys in the watching think. Let us know in the comments your thoughts on the Lloris situation. But Andre, next talking point as we move on to wow, what a player. Udogie, Destiny Udogie is going to skip international call up. Apparently, he was withdrawn from the squad after suffering a fever, and it was decided that he was better served by resting and recovering at home. So, good news, I'd say, Andre, right?
Yeah, I mean, quick little update for you guys on that. It's honestly nothing more to say other than the fact that we have to take care of this guy, especially with Reguilon having gone to Manchester United. Our backup's Perisic, I mean, or Davies, I guess. But, we're banking a lot on Udogie staying healthy. So international breaks are kind of scary because we know what happens to them sometimes.
Yeah, exactly that. So I'm a little bit concerned about Maddison going into the England team, considering he had a knock before that Bournemouth game. People weren't sure if he was going to play. Played obviously Burnley, played exceptionally well in both games. But if he's got a knock, do we want Gareth Southgate playing him for England? I would argue not. So I'm quite happy that Destiny Udogie, I'm happy that none of our players play internationals, to be honest. It's obviously good to see them succeed for their national team, but actually, selfishly for Tottenham, we want to see them stay as fit as possible. So, yeah, completely agree. And let's hope that none of our other players obviously get injured on international duty, which, I mean, the fact that they play friendlies is just ridiculous. In my opinion, the schedule is always massive for most clubs anyway, especially if you're in Europe or you're playing all the club competitions. You just don't need friendlies in September, like a month after the season starts. They've got to readdress that, but that's for another video. And let's talk Sanchez and Ndombele. So Sanchez first. Club did announce the other day that Davinson Sanchez has signed a 4-year contract with Galatasaray. Andre, any more details on this one?
Yeah, so I believe he's being offered a 3.2 million wage, a yearly wage of euros. And the whole point here, it took a while to get rid of him because there were clubs possibly offering something, but none of them were reaching what Spurs wanted, which was something close to 10 million euros minimum. And we got, I believe, a very close to 10. I think it was 9.5 million euros, which is good to see. It'll be paid in 5 installments. And Ange has given permission for this player to move on. It's interesting to see, though, because he was the straight backup center back. So who comes in now? Is it Davies? Is it Dyer? We'll see what happens.
I can't believe we're in this situation, Andre. I can't believe. Do you know what? Like, I won't say that selling Davinson Sanchez was the wrong decision because I think it's the right decision, but it's the right decision if you do the other side of that, which is bring in a replacement. Davinson Sanchez is your backup centre back option to Romero, which he was. Who's now coming in? You now start to look at Dyer. You now start to look at Phillips, the young lad that came in from Blackburn. Alfie Dorrington, great player, but is he experienced enough for the Premier League yet? Potentially not. But you've still got to bring in a player if you're getting rid of one. And Tottenham haven't done that. You can't tell me that Ashley Phillips is the Davinson Sanchez replacement, because that is ludicrous if that is the case. Because you're selling a player that we've now sold for around, what was it, 15 million euros, and we've bought in a player in Ashley Phillips, 18 years of age, for about £3 million. Now, that's not an upgrade. That's not a downgrade, but that's a player in Sanchez's experience, might not be great, replaced by an 18-year-old. That isn't right. You have to bring in another competent centre-back where if you lose a Romero or if you lose a Van der Ven, right, to injury, you need someone that's ready to go, experienced, and knows what they're doing. Do I trust Eric Dyer? Absolutely not. Do I trust Ben Davies at left centre-back? Absolutely not. And do I trust Ashley Phillips? Do you know what? Fair play to the lad, 18 years old, been signed by Tottenham Hotspur, is potentially going to be a future talent. But is he experienced enough to play in the Premier League against a team like Man City or Arsenal or Liverpool? Absolutely not. So who are our centre-back backups? The answer is Dyer and Davies, right? I'm struggling to even, I just don't understand it, Andre. I really don't.
Yeah, and I mean, this is a very, how to say it, sour end to it. He was our record-breaking signing at the time at 42 million euros. And yeah, and that's the end of that. I will always remember him for the big flop at Man City and also the mistake that led to us going out of the Champions League against Juventus. Those are my two memories of Sanchez. So yeah, that's all I have to say. But you're right. The backup options are kind of scary.
Andre, I literally just had to check transfer market to make sure I wasn't going nuts that there wasn't another centre back I was missing. Nope, not at all. Romero, Van der Ven, Dyer, Phillips. That's our centre backs in our whole squad, in our first team squad. What? I'm sorry, but Eric Dyer and Phillips are not competent replacements in the Premier League for Romero and Van der Ven. We are one injury away from Ange ball becoming cringe ball. Genuinely, like it's absolutely embarrassing that we're even talking about this. Davinson Sanchez, I'm not going to sit here and say it was wrong selling him, but is the timing now wrong? Absolutely. After the window shuts and we can't find a replacement. You know what I feel about Davinson Sanchez, how I feel about him. He's not good enough for Tottenham, and he hasn't been for many years. Too many mistakes. Wish him all the best. Thanks for sticking by us when we were on your back all the time. Fair play, but I mean, I just don't get the recruitment. I really don't. That's why I can't rate this window more than a 4 out of 10, 5 out of 10, because it's not. Got great incomings coming in, Andre, but the outgoings and the recruitment for the backups just not good enough. And I know Rome wasn't built in a day, but I just know what's coming, mate. I've supported this club long enough to understand. We'll get to October, November, we'll get a couple of injuries, and then suddenly we're struggling. And you'll be like, well, we probably should have got some backup. I mean,
Yeah.
it's crazy. But guys, let me know what you're thinking. Have I just gone off on one for no reason, or do you agree? Please do let me know. I'm really, really interested to hear what you guys are thinking. But I'm sure, Andre, like you said, you sort of agree with me on this one.
Yeah, I think a lot of planning will be needed here because I can't imagine that the January transfer window won't be busy. It will be busy, but you need to plan from now because if you just randomly buy a random center back because one of Van de Ven or Romero gets injured and Dyer and Davies aren't cutting it, then we're going to end up in the same mistake. So plan it out, guys. Find your center back target, and then in January, pull the trigger and bring him in. Like you said, Rome wasn't built in a day. So just plan it out, and I won't be too fussed about it at the end of the day. But you know what? Enough of that. Let's move on to the next outgoing. Another record-breaking signing at the time, Tanguy Ndombele. We bought him for around 62 million euros, and he was on a 200K a week salary. It's crazy. That's about 10.2 million a year that he's being paid. But he'll be heading out on loan again. I know that before that, I believe it was Napoli that he was on loan for with an option to buy. They did not buy. And now it's the same thing here. There is an option to buy at 15 million euros that would be paid in 5 installments. And it will be paying around 3.1 million of his wages this season, which I guess is around 30% of his wages. So that is at least some of the wage bill off ours.
Andre, Tanguy Ndombele must go down as one of the worst signings in Tottenham Hotspur's history. 62 million euros, record-breaking signing, still our record signing. And we loaned him out for 2 years? Is that correct? The correct decision to have loaned him out for 2 years? Probably, because I don't think he's good enough and his attitude isn't there. But the fact we can't move him on just suggests how bad of a recruitment it was. Daniel Levy and the likes of the Tottenham board do not want to take a massive loss on this guy. And finally, after 3 years, 4 years after we signed him under Pochettino in 2019 in the summer, we have now accepted that there is a loan with an with an option to buy 15 million euros. So a 62 million euro player is now probably going to be bought for 15 million euros. So we've lost 47 million euros on this player. What did we get out of him? About 5 Premier League goals, a couple of assists, and a load of tantrums. Brilliant. That is the worst signing. I think that is, do you know what? Actually, I think that is the top 5 worst signings in Premier League history. Genuinely.
Wow. That's some bold words, but I mean, I can't argue with too much because when he walked off the field that one time right before his loan, the fact that he's gone through, I believe it's like 5 coaches now, and all 5 of them eventually benched him. It says a lot, right? So, but on my end, it's very unfortunate to see because when he is on the ball, and no pun intended there, he's really, really good. But other than that, somehow behind the scenes, he always ends up unimpressing the coaches. Ange was very excited to see him at the beginning. And then we saw reports that as he saw him through training, he saw his attitude and his effort, he just became unimpressed. And that's why Ndombele has not seen any minutes. And that's why between Lo Celso and Ndombele, Lo Celso is the one that will be staying at Spurs, and Ndombele was the one that Ange sanctioned. Move him on if there's something.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, just finally, like, the fact that we used him for like 1 season over lockdown, he did okay at times. I remember there was an away day at Sheffield United. He scored a couple of goals and a couple of other games, but he scored on his debut against Villa, I believe. But, like, I just don't get it. I just don't understand it. Like, in 2021, we loaned him out, I think, to Lyon. There was a huge option to buy option of like £50 million. That was never going to happen. We then did the same with Napoli. I'm not sure what the obligation to, the option to buy was, but it was still relatively high. Both clubs didn't do it. Why? Because he's not worth that. So how on earth did we end up buying this guy for 62 million euros? I just have no idea. I really have no idea. But there you go, guys. Let us know what you think. Do you agree? Do you think that is one of the worst Premier League signings ever? Am I being too harsh? Is that Tottenham's worst signing in recent years? Let us know in the comments below as well. Make sure you do smash the thumbs up button if you do enjoy these types of discussions and transfer updates. Obviously, there won't be many more transfer updates now, but obviously we're going into more vlogs, more match day previews, and more content on tactics. So please do let us know what you want to see in the comments as well. Smash the subscribe button if you're new. And as always, guys, remember, come on, you Spurs!